7th of July 2005 was obviously one of the most difficult days in London's post-war history. On the day itself, the scenes and the deaths and the injuries were utterly terrible. But one of the oddities about these kind of terrorist attacks is when they're made on a huge city like London, it's an organic beast. You can't knock it out. And if we remember, the underground was running within 36 hours. People were just determined to come back into their city, to regain their city. I mean, if the Luftwaffe couldn't destroy London, then a few bombers weren't going to. That doesn't mean it wasn't necessary to do everything possible to protect against further attacks, and so far that's the luck has held. I think that the lesson of leading in the middle of public scrutiny is to do two things. First of all, it's to try and take as little notice of it as possible, because otherwise you will be driven mad. But secondly, it is to try and get as much work-life balance as possible. Listen to other people who are not in the vortex of what's going on, listen to their stories, talk to your family and all those sorts of things. It's easier said than done, but the first answer is because you've got something that you are trying to achieve and you don't want to be off-put by it, by all the public scrutiny and comment and calls for resignation and everything else. And the second is just to keep sane. I don't think policing has ever been just a job. It is a vocation. You need a vocation to deal with people at their most distressed. You need a vocation to see some of the sights that police officers see. You need a vocation, certainly, to walk around London's great city in a blue uniform, armed with nothing more than a stick. The most career-changing moment I had was a detective inspector, and I was called up by somebody terribly senior, and he said to me, as they would in those days, "Blair, the trouble with you is this," and it was, "You're not taking enough risks. You're operating inside a very comfortable envelope." He was kind enough to say, "You're very skilled, you've got a great future in front of you, but unless we don't bring people like you into the organisation if you're not prepared to take risks." And my leadership style is, I hope, very open and communicative. I tried to be, as often as I could, a transformational leader. In other words, somebody who shows their values in what they say and what they do. You can't do that all the time, because you have a lot of transactional things to do as well. But it also seems to me to be important that when somebody's with you, that they feel that your whole attention is on them and you're not looking distracted. Unless, of course, you want to be distracted because you want the interview to come to an end. But I think personally that for a few minutes, whoever's with you thinks that you are really listening to them is really important. Why did I become a police officer? Because I was 21 years of age and it was the most rebellious thing I could think of doing.